silent reflection and salute to the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. India?
Here.
Mr. Diver?
Here.
Mrs. King?
Here.
Mr. McLean?
Here.
Mr. Schuler?
Here.
Mr. Forbach? Mayor Mechanico?
Here. Pursuant to the requirements of the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice posted on the borough website and in the municipal building, and published as a legal notice in the Coast Star newspaper. Need a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
And a second.
Second.
And we have a roll call, please.
Mrs. India?
Yes.
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mayor, just for the record, it should be noted that Mr. Forbach has joined me.
Thank you. Now we have a presentation for volunteer appreciation. I'd like to call Casey Williams up, please.
Sure. Absolutely. In case for those of you that aren't familiar, we had an incident at 555 Monmouth Avenue on April 17th where we had a rather involved fire in our town. Thanks to the selfless and noble efforts of a bunch of people that don't wear firefighter uniforms, there was a very good outcome to this particular situation. We had two of our DPW workers went out of their way to help out, provide a safe environment for the firefighters, for the residents by going well out of their way, putting themselves in harm's way to remove propane tanks and to set us up so we could fight a very much safer fire. In addition, there were two citizens not working for the borough, there on their own time with absolutely no need to get in harm's way. They went out, they went inside, passed the fire, brought out an elderly woman, brought her back to her safety, to her vehicle before anybody else could get there. They paid attention, they dialed 911, and their heroic efforts, and I try to not use that word too often, but in this case it fits. Their heroic efforts really led to a very positive outcome here, and they deserve recognition. Whereas on April 17, 2012, the Spring Lake Heights Fire Department responded to a call for service at the Commons Townhouses, 555 Monmouth Avenue, and whereas upon the arrival of the scene of the site of the building was already engulfed in flames. Whereas prior to the fire department's arrival on scene, Peter Davis, performing contractor work at a construction at nearby property without regard for his own safety, entered the building and was able to safely bring the elderly occupant of the residence to the exterior. And whereas also prior to the arrival of the Spring Lake Heights Fire Department, Chris Crosby and Robert Sutphin, employees of the Spring Lake Heights Department of Public Works, responded to the scene and on their initiative and without regard to their own personal safety, relocated portable propane gas tanks from the rear patios of the adjacent townhouses. And whereas quick actions of these individuals in providing assistance to the occupant of a burning building and removing hazardous materials which prevented a serious fire from escalating are to be commended. Now therefore, Mayor Gavino Mechanico and the Borough Council of the Borough of Spring Lake Heights hereby recognize Peter Davis, Jesse Stewart, who was assisting Mr. Davis at the time, Chris Crosby, and Robert Sutphin for their selfless actions on the afternoon of April 17, 2012 in response to the fire at 555 Monmouth Avenue. Signed, Mayor Gavino Mechanico. I know Mr. Crosby and Mr. Davis are here. If Mr. Crosby would come up. I know that Mr. Sutphin could not be here today. I spoke to him earlier, but I do know that Mr. Davis is here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, very good. And I know Mr. Stewart, I don't think, but we will make sure that we can.
Yes, and we're all, council, very appreciative of what was done. Thank you very much. First voice of the public. May I have a motion to open the first voice of the public?
I'll make that motion.
Any agenda item. Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If you'd like to speak on any agenda item, please step forward, state your name and address.
I'll make a motion to close the first voice of the public.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion items for tonight. We have the planning evaluation from the engineering firm. Everyone have a chance to look at that?
Mayor, this item had been listed previously.
Previous, yes.
It was requested that the map that was referenced be provided. And additionally, that's been supplemented with some aerial photos and the zoning map of the subject property. And essentially, as indicated in the memo from the borough engineer and planner, they're looking for some guidance. And the question was the procedure to be followed, whether the council wished to review this, refer it to planning board, or just a mechanism to proceed with discussion.
What's the desire of the council? Would they like to refer it to the planning board?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we should refer to it.
Now that we know where we're talking about, and it's the same area that keeps coming up time after time, I think we should send it to the planning board to give us some guidance. Make sure everybody knows what's going on and then bring it back.
I would agree. I mean, as a member of the planning board is in charge of the master plan. In terms of zoning an area, they should recommend something to us. As far as that goes.
Okay. Anyone else? Everyone in agreement with that? Okay, Jay, could you...
And I would recommend that you actually take a formal vote to refer it to the planning board, Mayor.
I'll make that motion to refer this to the planning board.
We have a roll call, Jay?
Mrs. Cyndia?
Yes.
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Gorbach?
Yes.
Thank you. We have a proposed ordinance for trailer storage. This is to, around town, there's been some, those storage units going up, and we just like to keep it under control and better track of it. And everyone have a chance to look at that.
I had a chance to look at it, and I know that Mrs. King has some suggestions. The only question I had was paragraph 7, whether that's going to be a problem.
An enforcement problem.
Yeah, well, a constitutionality problem.
Legal problem?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if we need to refer that over to Fred to take a look at it, or what we
What do you mean, that's illegal?
Let's put some sort of reasonable.
Well, it's authorizing a search, a unilateral search of the container on someone's property by the municipality. So I don't know if that's okay or it's not okay, but I'd like to know before we do it.
We may need to just tinker with the language here a little bit in that particular paragraph.
And the way it's going to work is there'll be a fee to have the trailer, and then there'll be an ongoing fee every 30 days. We have a new addition here, additional thing here.
Yeah, I revised this.
Councilwoman King can address that.
Yeah, so how's that, looks
Well,
like there's going to be a fee to get the permit.
the one that is in here, I talked to a couple of people who are on the planning board, and they said that there was discussion, the night that they talked about these pods. But they felt that the fee wasn't enough. So I drafted this going by some of the language of what they had said to me, and that is that there would be a $50 fee initially. That $50 fee would include a 30-day period with one extension of 30 days. So for $50, you're getting 60 days for that pod to be on your property. Now, if you want an additional 30-day extension after that, the fee gets doubled. You'd have to pay $100 for that additional 30 days. And then let's say that a contractor or somebody is utilizing the pod for people to remove their furniture for given rooms if they're remodeling the house or something like that. Then if you needed an additional 30 days, which would take you up to 120 days, you would double it again, and it would be $200 for that last 30 days.
Yeah, see, my objection is the fees, I think it's too much. What I would suspect is that most people are renovating their homes, so you have taxpayers who are investing in Spring Lake Heights, who are improving their homes, making a commitment to stay here and to improve their homes. I could see maybe permitting them, having some sort of permitting process where you pay a small fee up front, but this just kind of looks like a way to grab tax dollars for no.
What it is, Tom, is.
What
it's a
service
way-
are we providing to the taxpayer for that?
But it is a way to deter the pods being here to begin with, because there's people that have pods on their property for very, very extended periods of time. And right now, we don't charge them anything. And we want to deter people from having them for these extended long-term periods.
Yeah, I think it's punitive on people who want to improve their properties, so I won't be supporting it in this form.
I think also, I think a lot of the folks that might be having these pods are doing either renovations, many times due to floods or some other type of catastrophe. And I'm not saying that as a neighbor, I would want somebody to have a pod on their house for 6 months. I'm not saying that, but I'm thinking that this does seem to be punitive to me in the sense that I read it, the application fee is, initial permit will be granted for 30 days, which is $50. An additional 30 days would then be $100, and the 30 days thereafter would be $200. So, in 90 days, I would understand if it's 6 months.
But the initial deposit, Patty, is $50 for 60 days. It's 30 days with one extension for 30 days.
Okay.
So you're getting 60 days for $50.
That's very good.
They're paying nothing.
So it's 5 months.
To have it now.
Yeah, altogether, this would be 5 months, it'd be
4 months.
$350.
Just
it's a pretty $350.
And you're doing an addition on your house or something, I think it's, I won't agree with this.
Councilman Denver.
I think I do agree with it, only for the simple reason that, having done this work myself, if you went to a storage facility, it would cost you more than twice that for the same period of time.
But they're also renting a pod.
No, I'm saying if you didn't rent a pod,
The reason why they're
It's
renting
cheaper
a
than
pod
the
is to
storage
save money because they want to invest in the town and have their house look nice. I think maybe you have an application fee of one time and you limit it to 6 months, and maybe you can do an extension for another 6 months, and that's it.
I wouldn't want anybody to have a pod for a year. I don't think anybody has the necessity.
Or have
of a pod
some
for a
period
year.
of time, have some limit on it, but this is just grabbing money from people. For no
Yeah,
reason.
but Tom, some
I
people are
disagree.
using the pod as a storage on their property,
Right. and
which
you
is
don't want
upsetting neighbors.
Or maybe you could have language where if somebody has a building permit and they get a pod,
Right.
something's coupled together, and then we are more strict on people who just are storing just junk in there. I don't know, but I don't see it as a big problem. I think most people just renovate their houses, as far as I can see.
We don't have any permit fee at all right now.
Right now, there's no language that
There's no
pertains to
permit
pods.
fee, but don't you feel that this is a little egregious? I mean, we have no permit fee at all right now. Maybe if we just, I don't know what the problems that, because nobody's told me that there's any problems with people with pods in the yards, but by putting where there's no fee and then making it such a penalizing fee for 30 days, or hopefully this is not grandfathered. You're not going to, if somebody's already had something on their lot for 5 months, we're not going to be charging them.
Well, maybe
Is
we
that
could have Joe
possible?
May come in.
Well, you
with-
couldn't charge, if somebody has it now, you really couldn't charge them
No.
for having it. It was not in existence.
Well, you just
But I
have Joe
think
May
it
come
might
in to
just
explain
help.
what he anticipated. If
Well, that's not
Cynthia wants to know why, he can explain why they've come up with this idea. It seems fair.
It seems like you're just trying to grab.
But you don't know that, you're speculating that it's all home improvement people, you don't know that.
This was-
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but, he can come in and explain it.
But you can link it with the building permit pretty easily.
This was Joe May's recommendation.
Right.
Right, it is Joe May's recommendation.
Right? Well, you can vote on it tonight, or if you like, but I'm not going to vote in favor of it, that's fine.
No, Joe's
What would be a,
You could always introduce it tonight, and then you could just have him also come to the public hearing.
what would be a more reasonable fee for,
Why don't you just try a $50 fee? There's no fee right now. Why don't you just try a $50 permit fee and see if that helps? You know, people, you know, maybe another $50 fee if it's not there in 6 months, or $100 if it's not gone in 6 months. But I don't know where the history of this.
I think 120 days is more than sufficient for a pod.
I'm just saying that, I don't know where this came from. Is there somebody that's had
Well, that's
a
why,
pod
yes,
in the house?
her problem is she doesn't understand where it came from. Let's bring Joe in, he can explain where it came from.
But this is a tax hike, if not, you know, not basically.
In terms of the timing, since this actually amends the land use section of the Borough Code, it's got to be referred over to the planning board after you introduce it for review and recommendation from the planning board. So we'd be subject to, before it could come back to you for public hearing and final reading, there'd have to be a planning board meeting in between. And I was talking to Mr. Delaney earlier today, and if I'm not incorrect, I think what you were saying, Mr. Delaney, was that whether you introduced it tonight or at the next council meeting, there isn't a planning board meeting until after the next council meeting.
That's correct.
So you don't have to introduce this tonight, it's not going to speed things up. So if there's questions that are raised this evening, we can certainly go back and speak to Joe May, we can have him come to the next meeting. We can tinker with the language as it relates to the fee, the number of months, and maybe get a more definitive report, maybe something in writing from Mr. May, and perhaps he could come and appear and answer questions if anyone has questions, but it can't go any faster anyway, whether you introduce it tonight.
Well, I feel that I just saw this tonight on the dais for the first time, so I don't feel comfortable voting in favor of it. I would prefer it not to be going forward.
schedule Joe for next meeting?
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you.
In the meantime, I'll take a look at that constitutional issue that Mr. McLean brought up, and Mr. Delaney and I will speak to Mr. May about some of the other issues, and we'll see what kind of recommendations we can make to you to help speed things along the next time around.
Anything else on the, for the council reports, Councilwoman Cynthia, do you have anything?
No, I don't.
Councilwoman.
Wait, I'm sorry. I did meet with the beautification committee at the community center, and there were a number of items that the beautification committee came as far as fixing up and what we wanted to do to repair the community center, such as painting and wood floors, maybe different items. The kitchen, different requests for the kitchen. There was a gate. We wanted a gate because there's stairs, and we're concerned that there might be functions with small kids and somebody may fall down the steps. So we gave that, I forwarded that to Rich Diver, Councilman Diver, and hopefully a meeting is going to be set up in the near future with the beautification committee and maybe also our partner to go over those items and maybe a plan. Because I believe the community center is shut down for 2 weeks in August for repairs and things. So hopefully the meeting can be before that. Maybe even.
Thank you. Councilwoman King.
The only thing I would just like to ask is that during the summer months, there's a lot of kids that are out on the streets, even late at night. And I just want everybody to be very aware of the children around. Some of them are not wearing any kind of reflective kind of gear, obviously, because of the summertime. Some of them don't have the reflectors on their bikes and don't have lights on their bikes. If they're walking, obviously, it's difficult to see. So just everybody be very, very cautious of whoever is out on the street. Thank you.
Councilman McLean.
The Environmental Commission is going to be meeting Fletcher property the 18th at 7 p.m. If anybody is interested in seeing what we're up to, you can come over and take a look. That's it.
Moving forward. Councilman Diver.
I just want to remind everyone that this Saturday, July 14th, in Spring Lake at Divine Park, our recreation committee is co-sponsoring Chris Herron, who is a motivational speaker on addictions, especially drugs and alcohol addiction. I encourage everyone, please send your teenagers out. I know I'll be attending, and this is a very, very worthwhile program. He is renowned for this. He's already given presentations at Manasquan High School and St. Rose, but we were approached to co-sponsor him over at Divine Park in Spring Lake, and I really encourage everyone, your children, your grandchildren, should attend this. It is a remarkable program, and he is an inspiring individual. Please come out.
Thank you, Rich.
On the recreation, what do we have, 160?
About 160 kids.
160 kids?
Yep.
I was there at the initial day, and I was very impressed with the way that it was handled. There was no confusion, and I was amazed.
The first day, too? No first stage snafu?
It was just the way it was handled, the check-in procedure, it was amazing.
Sean Heener does a great job.
Yep.
He really does.
Amazing.
Ordinance introductions. We have none at this time. Resolution R 2012-138.
Mayor, this is authorizing the extension of the existing agreement with the Spring Lake Heights Independent Fire Company. Again, this was really a continuation of the agreement that was previously extended.
This is the agreement that's in our packet, correct?
That's correct. And pursuant to this agreement on the bill list is the quarterly payment to the fire company for the quarter that has just ended.
Do we have a motion? We need a motion first. Motion to introduce?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Any questions?
Now, Fred, if you can please explain to me how I mean, I understand that this was continued in January, and, you know, even then, I'll be quite honest, you know, the language is with between the fire district and the independent fire company, and I'm trying to figure out how exactly it is. Do we have something in writing in the statute or that I'm not aware of, where it does state that that Spring Lake Heights, the borough of Spring Lake Heights steps into the shoes of the fire district for this particular agreement? It doesn't seem like this is binding to me.
Well, honestly, I wasn't involved in this, and it's something that Mr. Lane, your former counsel, has been handling on behalf of the borough, so other than just reviewing it in a cursory manner for this meeting, I'm really not prepared to be able to render an opinion on it, so you might want to hold this for tonight, because it's not my issue.
Well, I would like changes made. I would like all shalls to be changed to may. There's a statute here that pertains just to the fire district that apparently we as a town is to be responsible for. We don't have the fire company liaison yet, and so all these fire reports that are supposed to be turned over to us, I don't know if anybody's. It references the standard operating procedures. You know, is Don Huber at all involved in this anymore?
Yeah, Mayor, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
I think the council may be aware that through the efforts of Mr. Lane, I believe about 2 weeks ago, there was a draft agreement to replace the existing agreement was distributed to the council. There's been no follow-up from Mr. Lane regarding that. But again, this is simply to extend previously the council had authorized the extension of this existing agreement.
Well, the problem that I have is, I think it was October of last year when I was dealing with this, we requested, and Don Huber also, who is with the community
Theaters.
and he was very adamant that the company should provide us with 5 years worth of their financials in order for us to draft or go forward with any kind of agreement, and we haven't received those yet. We haven't received anything.
We have received them?
Everything that was asked for by the state has been turned over to John Lane months ago.
You're checking, Al, your checking account?
Everything that the council and Mr. Lane asked for was provided to Mr. Lane months ago.
I was gonna say, to be honest, I think we'd have to question John Lane. As far as I understand.
I just got this in the packet.
Yeah.
This is the first time I knew that this was gonna be on with Friday, so
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. The one thing I'm curious about, we have some, we have an all-volunteer fire company. We have some of the representatives. I'd be interested in what they have to say.
Well, Mayor, it's
Or
up to
just
you
maybe
if you
not the
want to
appropriate time,
recognize
but
anyone from
I'm
the
curious to
public.
see how they feel things are
I mean, it's
functioning.
just normal protocol, we just make up our own rules, doesn't matter.
Well, you can speak at the board.
Right now, it's a council discussion. If you, Mayor, as the chair, wish to recognize anyone from the public, I'll leave that in your discretion.
Would you like to hear from anyone? Yes.
Well, I'd like to hear from Chief Wilms.
Okay. Chief, would you like to step forward?
As you guys are aware, the previous extension of the agreement was because one that was being drafted by the attorneys regarding the fire district, the old previous fire district, the fire company in the borough, had not been finalized yet. As of, where are we in July now? Our May business meeting, which was held the first Tuesday in May 2012, the fire company approved and submitted back to Mr. Lane a copy of a draft agreement. This was in May. Mr. Lane has had that agreement since then. What happened to that agreement and that draft agreement is beyond my knowledge. It is not in my hands. I can tell you what the fire company did. As far as the documents that were submitted, as Mr. Diver can attest, we gave him everything that we could have possibly given him that was asked for. We have been extremely cooperative with the borough since January up to this point. That quarterly payment pays our electricity bill, our gas bill, upkeep of the building, stuff of that nature. The reason for this extension is not because that we are trying to look to fleece the borough or do anything like that. As far as I can see, it is a holdup in administration, not from you guys when I say administration. I just say that as a group term from where we were and what will be in the language from what I understand of the upcoming agreement. Without that, we are left in a very tight pickle.
Now, can you explain to me, Chief Wilms, as far as what type of agreement does Spring Lake have with each of their companies?
Spring Lake
Or Cedar?
or Cedar, I am not at liberty to say about them. I'm not involved in their back and forth, and they are totally different towns, and they handle their,
Keep your questions
and
pertaining
they,
to our district.
they
We don't
handle
want to
their
hear
stuff
about anyone else.
completely differently than what we've agreed to handle. In meetings that we've had prior, different things on maintenance, different things on purchasing, it's handled a completely different way. So I could not make comparisons between the two.
We don't ask you to make comparisons.
Okay, I'm just, so she's, informed, that's all.
But just to be clear, this extension, maybe it's not in the wording that everybody would like, but the fire company needs these funds to operate, is what you're saying.
Yes, we do.
And, okay, and you guys are obviously volunteers doing this.
Yes, we are.
Yes, they are.
Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
We have a motion and a second, don't we?
A motion and a second. We want to move forward with the resolution? Contract. Or would you want to table it and have Fred take a look at it?
We have a motion and a second, I guess.
You have a motion and a second on the table, Mayor.
Roll call, Chair.
Mrs. Cynthia?
No.
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Vorback?
Yes.
Thank you. Financial resolutions. Need a motion to move the bills to the Finance Committee?
I'll make that motion.
We have a second.
I'll second it.
And do we have any questions on that? Roll call.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Abstain?
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Vorback?
Yes.
Thank you. I need a motion for Resolution R 2012-139 for the bills list, July 6, 2012.
I'll make that motion.
We have a second?
I'll second it.
Any questions? Roll call.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Abstain.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Vorback?
Yes.
Mayor, before you move forward with the consent agenda, and my apologies for not mentioning this earlier when the agenda was approved, but based on the discussion that took place earlier this evening in the executive session, there was a consensus of council to authorize the settlement of the tax appeal matter involving Regency Holdings Company versus the Borough of Spring Lake Heights in accordance with the recommendations made by the tax assessor who was with us in the private session. And you all have a copy of the proposed settlement stipulation. So I would suggest that the council take a vote to authorize settlement in accordance with the assessor's recommendation.
That would be Resolution 141.
Yes, Mayor.
Can we have a motion for Resolution R 2012-141?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any questions? Roll call.
Mrs. Cynthia?
No.
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Vorback?
I'll abstain.
Thank you. Motion for consent resolution R 2012-140. Raffle license, taxi license, and outdoor music for Independent Fire Company.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mr. Diver?
I have to abstain.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Vorback?
Yes.
Approval of minutes, March 26, 2012, April 5th, 2012 special meeting, April 9th, 2012, April 23rd, 2012, and June 11th, 2012.
I think we have to break them down by meeting.
Okay, we take them individually, Jay?
That'd be fine, Mayor.
Need a motion for March 26th.
I'll make that motion.
Second? Any questions? Roll call.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Abstain.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Vorback?
Abstain.
April 5th, 2012. Any motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, Jay.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Vorback?
Abstain.
April 23rd, 2012, the executive session.
Mayor,
April 9th, you skip April 9th.
Let's skip one?
Yeah.
Yeah, April
Oops,
9th.
sorry. April 9th, 2012. Thank you.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Abstain.
Mr. Vorback?
Yes.
April 23rd, executive session.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Abstain.
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Vorback?
Abstain.
April 23rd, 2012, the public session.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mr. Diver?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Vorback?
Abstain.
June 11th, 2012, regular session.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cynthia?
Yes.
Mr. Diver?
Abstain.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
We'll get a turn.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Vorback?
Yes.
Thank you. At this point of the meeting, we'd like to open the second voice of the public on any item. If you'd like to speak, just step forward, give your name. And address, I'm sorry, name and address.
My name is Technology on Atlantic Avenue. And I was wondering if it would be appropriate for me to comment on the storage unit in the police shed, is that okay? Because I was just reading it in the Coast Star. And so there's a quote here from Mr. May. It says it will avoid people having storage home units or the home storage units that are eyesores in the area for a long period of time. At the the meeting, Mr. May said, issue is not the construction. The average person who says they need a storage unit and keep it for a long period of time. So I appreciate the spirit of the ordinance so people don't have this structure on their property forever and ever and ever for some extended period of time, and just using it as a secondary storage area. There are storage places available for that, and I can see where that might disturb their neighbors. But I was just wondering, because of the language Mr. May used, it kind of led me to believe that maybe there could be a division between, or a provision for people doing a storage unit for construction and a storage unit for people who just want to do things. And I'm just wondering if in working this ordinance, if there could be some provision for that. People that are doing construction, people that are doing home renovations, as Mrs. Eisenberger pointed out, home construction always doesn't go 30 days, 60 days. Right. Anybody who's at work done knows that things can go overboard. And I didn't know about the fees really, because what the fees they're saying tonight is different than what's in the. But I agree with Mr. Rebecca. I think they're punitive. I think they're really high. Somebody who's already a taxpayer, who's working to improve their home, to improve the neighborhood ultimately, and the surrounding area where they live, to be stuck with a $200 fee. And I don't really know that I understand the fees. Excuse me. I don't know that I really understand the fees. It was $50 for the first 60 days, and then if it went another 30, that would be what? An extra 100. So
30 days after that would be 200.
And what extra service does the town give to the person? There's no other service, just grabbing money.
It's coming out and doing an inspection, like construction. That kind of fee I understand, where someone actually has to come out and they have to study, and they have to use their knowledge, or they have to use their expertise to do construction inspection. Those are fees I understand. But for me as a homeowner, to put a unit to rent it on my property that I'm already paying taxes on, and then have to pay, upwards of what, $350, that just seems outrageous to me, really. So anyway, that's just my comment on that. And I'm hoping that maybe when this does come back around, there could be separate provisions on construction, as I think Mr. Warback mentioned, tying it to the construction permit and giving people who are doing renovations on their home a break. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Jim Merriman, 8 Royal Court Drive. And I work as a contractor. And there are times when you go to remodel someone's house and they want the whole roof ripped off. So what the homeowner is going to do is he's going to say, well, I can spend a month going back and forth to the storage area, or I can get one of these pods dropped here. I too feel that the fee of 5 months, most jobs you're talking are going to run 10. So now you're up to almost $1,000 a person or a contractor has to add on to a taxpayer for his own property. I think that's a little bit. I have to agree with Mr. Borback. That sounds like we're trying to fleece the public.
Anyone else like to speak?
Make a motion to close the second voice of the public.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.